You tried everything to make the better choice, but at some point your motivation runs out and you're back to square one. And then all you hear is, all you need is to stay consistent. But how do you actually do that? Then this video is for you, where I share my tips on how to actually stay consistent. The secret to success is consistency. The secret to consistency is building habits. And the secret to building habits is systems and routines. I like this phrase so much because it actually breaks down the exact steps that we need to take in order to be consistent and make it a habit, because that's all it is. If you just rely on motivation, the motivation runs out. So I always like to say discipline over motivation, because if you have a set up strategy to lead you through your day, to lead you through your good habits, then you don't need to rely on motivation. Motivation is just a feeling, and we don't want to rely on a feeling to stick to our new habits. That's where strategies and routines place. Let's start by finding out your why. And why is that so important? Because if we don't have it backed up with a reason, it's so easy to let it fall off. We need to have a why. You need to know your why in order to do and change the things we want to change. Throughout this video, I'm gonna go with 2 examples on how to stay consistent with your new habits, but obviously that works for any goal that you have. We're gonna go with the example of starting a journal routine to be consistent and working out or doing yoga in the morning. Schedule in the habit that you want to be consistent at and make it a non-negotiable. When it's written down, it's on a piece of paper and it can't get lost. If you're just thinking about it, it might get lost in all the things we're doing on a day-to-day basis. You really want to make it a habit to make it a non-negotiable. So I have several different habits and tasks that I want to stay consistent in several different days. For me, I know I get out of bed, maybe I'll drink my coffee, and then I start to journal. This is my non-negotiable, because my goal is, it makes me feel so much better and lighter to have done that. Same with as going to the gym or doing any other activity. Scheduling your new habit, you can do that either on a journal, on a laptop, in an app called Notion I like to use just to stay consistent. Next up, preparation is key. With journaling, I make sure to set up my journal where I always journal in the morning. So the night before, I put everything out and I will make sure that my journal is there, that my pen is there, maybe a cup of coffee or like an empty cup that I can fill and just refill. I'm making sure that everything I need in order to be consistent is as easy as possible. A lot of the times we don't stick with the habits that we want to implement because there's just so much things in the way. When you prepare the things in advance, then you're most likely to do it. Your brain gets the signal of, oh, I see that journal and it's right in the spot where I always journal. That's what I'm going to do next. Prepare the things that you need for this new habit to stay consistent in advance. If you want to start doing yoga in the morning right after you get out of bed, make sure to prepare the yoga clothes, the workout clothes beforehand. Our brains are wired the same way, that it wants us to keep in the same patterns because we're used to them and they make us feel safe. Once we are trying to implement new things, it's almost like telling us, oh, this is new territory, we don't know what to do, so let's go back to the old habits. And when you're wanting to do yoga, having your workout clothes and you put them on to do your yoga workout or your yoga session, your brain knows, oh, when I put on these clothes, I am gonna do something that feels good to my body. And this is so much easier to stay consistent because it's an easier way to implement things. If you don't prepare it the night before or the day before, you'll just find more excuses of not doing it. At least that's what I found for me to be true. The next tip I have for you is called habit stacking. And you might have heard it before. I'm just gonna explain how it works. It's literally how it sounds. You stack one habit on top of the other, like little Lego blocks. This routine has helped me so much because I used to slack off on a lot of things and be like, yeah, we'll do it later. But habit stacking is actually, it's the best. So how it works is, let's say you've implemented the routine of journaling consistently. Usually for our brains to register something, it needs about 21 till 28 days, so about 3 to 4 weeks, until it registers as a new thing we're doing daily, and therefore I would recommend for doing it for that time frame. So let's say you've implemented journaling for about 3 to 4 weeks, and now you feel like, okay, I think I have it down, I'm being consistent with that, but I also want to add my yoga routine. So then you're gonna continue the habit of journaling every single morning. And right after, you're gonna grab your clothes, doing yoga, and starting to do your yoga session. As I mentioned before, preparation and putting the things that you need in order to be consistent with this new habit is essential. If you do that, your mind will register over time that, oh, we get out of bed, we brush our teeth, we shower, we're journaling, and then we're doing yoga. And this is what we're doing now. And this is literally just putting another habit on top of another that don't necessarily have anything to do with each other, but you're going into the routine of doing journaling and then doing yoga. And therefore your brain registers it as almost one habit together. And you can do that with as many habits as you can. Just make sure to keep it for at least 3 to 4 weeks to stay consistent. And one thing I want to mention is we're always so hard on ourselves. So please, please, please don't be discouraged if you miss a day. If your goal was to journal every single day and you've missed 1 or maybe 2, that's okay. Just start back up. Building routines and systems, you need to figure out a way how to make them work for you. Keep it easy and simple. Eliminate distractions, eliminate things that are in the way of doing your new routine, new habits. To recap, here are the tips to stay consistent. Find your why, make it a non-negotiable and schedule it in your timer. Plan ahead, put out all the things you need in order for this habit to be as easygoing as possible, and habit stack. I know it can be quite a journey to getting habits to stick and being consistent. If you struggle with procrastination, I think you should watch this video next where I teach you my tips and tricks. See you in the next one. Bye.